Interest rates are just too high, and that's making homes impossible to buy. That's a terrible rhyme, but unfortunately, the biggest hurdle right now in real estate isn't necessarily finding homes, it's finding that monthly payment that doesn't make your eyes water. Or as we say in my part of the woods, it don't make your eyeballs sweat. So with interest rates hovering in the mid sixes, a 500,000 loan feels a whole lot heavier than it did some time ago. But what if I were to tell you that there's a way to legally beat the system and get a rate that's 1%, or maybe even 2% lower than the market average? Hi, I'm Dave Michael. I am the House Wrangler with You First Realty. And today, we're breaking down the interest rate buydown. I'm going to show you exactly how a 2-1 buydown works, what it costs, where the money comes from, and how I'm going to be giving you $1,600 just to be your agent, making your monthly payments even more affordable. So let's dive in. All right, now let's define exactly the two types of ways that you can lower your interest rate with these interest rate buy down programs. Let's keep in mind though that these are just estimates. These are just rough ballpark estimates of numbers that we are discussing, just meant to give you a working idea of the difference between the two programs. When you talk with your lender, you'll get more specifics on this. Okay, so the permanent rate buy down, and this is my favorite one because, well, it's permanent. This is where you pay points at closing to lower the interest rate for the entire 30-year life of the loan. 1 point typically will cost 1% of your loan amount and drops your rate by about 0.25%. Now, that sounds like a lot of points being made that I just threw at you. So let me run that by you again. When you buy 1 point, the cost of that is 1% of the loan. So of a $500,000 loan, that would be $5,000. That does not drop it by a full percentage point, interest rate percentage point, but rather 1/4 of a percentage point. To get a full percentage point dropped on the interest rate, to go from 6.3, if we're using that as an example, to 5.3, that would cost you nearly $20,000. To go from 6.3 to 5.8, that would be $10,000. Remember, each point you buy is worth 0.25% or a 1/4 point of an interest rate. All right, the temporary buy down, the 2-1 rate buy down. This is the hot strategy that a lot of my clients have used. This does not change your rate for 30 years, but rather it gives you massive relief for the first 2 years of your home ownership. So what does that matter? Because, well, a lot of people think that the rates will drop in the near future, and a temporary interest rate buy down will save you cash now, and then you can refinance later when the market does, when the interest rates do eventually drop down. So let's look at this one. Let's look at this crowd favorite, right? The 2-1 rate buy down. And the name pretty much explains exactly how it works. So your interest rate in year 1 is 2% lower than your actual note rate. In year 2, your interest rate is 1% lower than your note rate. Years 3 through 30, you go back to the original market rate. So let's use our $500,000 loan example again. In today's market, let's say your interest rate is 6.3%. In year 1, you're only paying 4.3%. In year 2, 5.3, and year 3 through 30, it goes back to 6.3. Now, this is huge for first-time home buyers, especially who know that their income's going to grow, or anyone who just wants some extra cash to do some renovations or whatever. And they're going to be able to do that in the first 24 months because they're saving so much money. Now, here's the million-dollar question, right? What does it cost? And is it worth it? Well, let's look at those numbers for a $500,000 loan because we've been using that as our example. So with the permanent rate buy down, and we're going to take 2 points here, the cost will be 2% of the $500,000 loan. That's $10,000. The rate drop will be from 6.3 to 5.8. Your monthly savings is $164. All right. Now, the 2-1 buy down. Let's go ahead and talk about the cost here. The cost is really calculated by the total interest saved over those 2 years. So for a $500,000 loan, the cost is roughly $11,500. Understand that these are just estimates, right? The monthly savings in year 1, you're going to save nearly $620 a month because you've dropped down to 4.3. In year 2, you're down to 5.3. You're saving $320 a month. Your total 2-year savings, approximately $11,280 that you've saved. But wait, you're thinking $11,500, Dave, that's a lot of money, and it is. But here's the bottom line. You shouldn't be paying for this, and you won't. Not in this market and not on my watch. In today's market, we are seeing seller credits which basically I write in the contract. We ask the seller to pay $11,500, $12,000, whatever, $15,000. I write that in the contract, and my clients this year have received anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 in seller credits. So the bottom line, instead of asking them to drop, say, the price of the house, just money off the list price, let's ask them for credits, because an $11,000 price drop only saves you about $70 a month, but an $11,000 buy down saves you over $600 a month just in year one. So which buy down should you choose? Well, it's really up to you. I mean, choosing a permanent rate buy down, yeah, if you plan on living in the house for 7 to 10 years plus, and you're not necessarily concerned about refinancing, or maybe you don't believe those rates are going to drop, then go with the permanent. All right, the 2-1 buy down, you should probably go that one if you absolutely do believe rates are going to drop in the next 24 months, and you're good with refinancing, and understand that any unused portion when you do refinance of that $11,500, that actually goes back to your principal balance, so you don't lose that money. Now, both programs are great. You just have to decide really which one makes the most sense to you. So that's the long and the short of it. So when you're discussing two of the more popular types of rate programs, I mean, this is how it works. So we are really in a great window of opportunity here in the Denver metro area, that we're mostly in a buyer's market. We have an abundance of inventory, and sellers are absolutely offering concessions to help you either with closing costs, but in many cases for the interest rate buy down. I've yet to write a contract where I wasn't asking for seller credits. I always do that. And so while it's true that interest rates are in the sixes, the positive news for a buyer is that you can usually submit an offer without fear of other competition, and you can ask the seller to pay for these rate buy downs via seller credit and concessions. That allows you to get into your new home at a monthly payment that really makes sense to you. So drop a comment below telling me which program you think you would choose. Real estate is really it's more than just the purchase price. It's really about how you manage the debt. The 2-1 rate buy down is a powerful tool to get you into a home now without that mid 6% interest rate handcuff. So if this video resonated with you and you're thinking about buying a home in the Denver metro area, or really anywhere in the Front Range, because I have clients from Boulder all the way down to Colorado Springs and Cripple Creek, but I would really like to help you out. So whether you're buying your first home, selling your existing home, either upsizing, getting something bigger, maybe getting something smaller, or buying an investment property. I have lived in the Denver metro area for over 18 years, and I can certainly help you navigate this market. And as I mentioned, if you allow me to represent you in buying your new home, I'm going to be providing you a $1,000 credit to help you with that interest rate buy down. In addition, I'm also going to be buying you a 1-year home warranty that runs, it's about $575. And if you don't want that home warranty, I'm going to round that up and give you another $600. So you're going to get $600 plus the $1,000. That's nearly $1,600 that I would be providing you just to be able to be your agent, and hopefully be able to make things just a little bit more affordable for you. Now, if you found this video helpful, hit that like button. It really does help people find this content. I'm Dave Michael. I am the House Wrangler with You First Realty. Subscribe for more Denver Metro and Colorado Front Range real estate videos each and every week. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy trails.